X-Men 97 Season 2 review is what this video is. Welcome to my little review of X-Men 97, one of my favourite shows. I love X-Men 97 so much. So before I start just as a tangent talking about how much I love X-Men, welcome to my review of X-Men 97 Season 2. Hi, I'm Emily. This video. Where the season starts is on the cliffhanger of Season 1, where the X-Men are put into three groups. And X-Men and Cable are put into three groups from like space stuff that happens that I can't fully remember what's a bunch of space things that happen at the end of Season 1. You've got one where you're in the past, present, and then another in the future, 3 different times, and they're all times of the main villain series, Apocalypse. Ooh, Apocalypse. Probably my favourite X-Men villain. Love Apocalypse. It's so interesting, Apocalypse. So you've got the first group that are in the past. They're in ancient Egypt, where he is and Sabanura before. Was that Apocalypse? I think that someone else. I'm pretty sure. I think that was Apocalypse before he became Apocalypse. It's about him then, and it's like the time just when he's just starting to become Apocalypse as well. You've got the group in the present, which is in 1997, X-Men 97. I was in 95, and then I was like, no, it's not X-Men 95. And you've got the group in the future, which is like Days of Future Past type world. So it's like Apocalypse has broke everything. The world's in danger. It's all like sentinels around the place. It's like it is Days of Future Past type world is what that group are in. So it's each group trying to get back to 97 and how they're going to get back to each time. So this season was 1 episode shorter than the last one. It was 9 episodes, but the previous one was 10. And I do think it should have been like that 1 episode longer for something, should we talk about that now, or should we, we'll start with like the earlier part of the season, and then I'll talk about what I think should have been like an extra episode or more stuff about when we get to that. Okay, so the first 3, we've done that, they're about the time. Which were released on the same day. Then you get to episode 4. This, damn it, probably is my favourite episode of the season, and it's also the saddest. And, or does it? What is the sadder episode? This thing, or what happens at the end of the final? We'll get to that. This is also a very spoiler. So, episode 4 is the group that are in the past. They're just about to get home, and then Apocalypse, Charles and Eric is trying to stop Apocalypse from becoming, and stop another becoming Apocalypse. They fail. Stuff happens that I can't remember. But Eric ends up saving this whole village from getting taken over by Apocalypse. Eric has used his last bit of power on saving this village. Eric and Magneto, I just call him Eric. Sometimes Magnus, mostly just Eric. So I'm saying Eric, Magneto, but I know it's like first of X and just like Charles. So, okay, so his last bit of his power has been used. He's passed out on a desert. Apocalypse finds him. Charles is reaching out like, Eric, oh Eric. This has not happened. This is not like a fan fiction. This is really what happens in the show. He's reaching out and he's like, Eric, no, leave him alone. Then Apocalypse, lifts up Eric. Bye Eric, because Eric has no more power to get rid of Apocalypse. We have no more Eric. You see, and then what in like that. But it's like one of my favourite scenes in the whole show. I know it's one of the saddest season. It's when Eric's helmet is just rolling down the sand dune, and it's just Charles holding the helmet, and he says, your mother should have abandoned you to Apocalypse. I was like watching it go, that's crazy, Charles, that's crazy from you, but you deserve to say that. That's crazy, but well done, Charles. So they did say this season was going to be sad with some characters would make it, but I never expected Eric, and I was like, how dare you do this to me? But I know of certain comic story that I'm like, they'll probably do that. That will probably happen next season. Maybe this season, but probably next season we get certain comic story that I won't say because in case you don't know, certain comic story involving Eric. But I will not say certain comic story involving Eric. So that was like, and then it has the 2 episodes later, Charles in the danger room, another like, and it has like the flashback of that, but it turned out it's not a flashback. It's Charles in the danger room watching Experience doing like a simulation of Eric's last moment over and over again, and he's just sitting there crying while holding the helmet. And that also reminds me of a line from, this is the second to last one, where Apocalypse says, your beloved Eric. It's like, cries. So something I do on top is X-Force, because there were 3 different groups in the season, and I will say it was a bit hard to like keep track of the groups at some points, because you had X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, so it was trying to keep track of like who's in what group, who's on what side. I know they had the uniforms, but when people were like switching groups all the in between like episodes, it was like, okay, you're of this group now, but you're of this group, and you're of this group, and then there's this group, and they all start with the letter X, and then a hyphen. It's a bit confusing. But Polaris is my answer to that. I didn't know much about Polaris before watching it. All I knew is she's Magneto's daughter, and the episode where it's like very centered on her is, it's so good. I love Polaris. It was the previous video where it was like, I said it was like one who's more powerful. I do really think it's Polaris. I love Polaris. So she's become one of my favorites for this season. She was in X Factor, and then she went to X-Force. No, she didn't. She went to X Factor, to the X-Men. Yeah, okay. See, trying to keep track of the groups. It was a bit hard. I hope next season it's just focused on like X-Men and like one other group maybe, or just X-Men, because it's a bit hard to keep track of who's in one group. So yeah, I will say X-Force. I really like X-Force. X-Force are really cool. I do very much like X-Force. Cable, great character. Really like Cable. I liked how it was more with him this season. I loved like the stuff with Cable, especially where it was about the past when they were in the Egypt part, and it was when he was child as Nathan. I love that. And then you had Jean and Scott like helping him. Obviously, at the time he didn't know that Scott was his dad and Jean with his stepmom. He didn't know at the time. He was like, and then in future finds that out. Okay, I really want to talk about the Gambit, but like build up they had, because that was so good. I love the stuff with Gambit. So zombie Gambit being resurrected by Apocalypse, so cool. When he was meant to be a horseman, and then there was like I didn't really understand so it was like Apocalypse took over Gambit's body, but also resurrected him into a zombie. So it was zombie Gambit walking around, and then zombie Gambit, the second he seen Rogue, was like, we're getting married right now. You can't say anything because it's about to happen. I love I wish, like what I said about extra episode, more of Zombie Gambit. I would have loved to see more of Zombie Gambit instead of one episode. That's why I call him Zombie Gambit, because it's so cool. And then and then from when Zombie Gambit comes into it, that's episode 7. So for the shift from episode 7 to the final being more focused on like X-Force, X-Factor trying to kidnap Zombie Gambit and destroy him because he's technically Apocalypse, and then you've got the X-Men side like, no, we want to keep we want to save Zombie Gambit, even though the most powerful villain that we have is possessed, took over his body, so we're trying to protect, so it's like saving the villain as well. It's confusing, but I love the design of Zombie Gambit. So, and the stuff with Rogue, I knew the second when we seen like Gambit being resurrected, Rogue's reaction would break everyone, and it was like, and when she did, it just immediately started crying. I was like, that is exactly what I expected. See the trauma Rogue was feeling, that is seeing. It's like, oh my god. And it's a callback to when earlier on when she says to episode 3, where she says to Apocalypse, something like, I hope you get to feel love one day. Oh, cause how much he misses Remy. Then he comes back and he's a zombie and he gets resurrected, and it's like, oh my god. So it says episode 4 is my favourite one of this season, but also maybe the zombie gambit one in the final are up there as well, but I think it still is episode 4. So with the final, I really didn't expect Kurt to be gone as well. I'm like, Nightcrawler. So it was either going to be Nightcrawler or Rogue, and before that episode, like 2 episodes earlier, I was like, I don't think Rogue's going to make it till the end of the season. Because Gambit's coming back, and I think they're gonna do like, you know, Gambit's back, but Rogue can't be here anymore type thing, you know, like doomed couple type stuff. But no, it ended up being doomed siblings, classic doomed siblings in Marvel as well. I was like, which one are we doing? The classic Marvel doomed siblings, or the classic Marvel doomed couple? And it ended up being the sibling one, and I cried. I was like, oh my god. The last line, the last sequence of this season, having the sequence of like all the groups like happy and like being safe while Nightcrawler is being just like destroyed, and the last line being him just staring, looking, going, I have faith. Oh. And then it just episode finished, that he just says that, then the episode finishes. I was just sitting there like this. So good though. Beautiful animation. Speaking of beautiful animation, obviously this show is like some of the greatest animation in like for like a modern animated show. One of my favorite sequences is the one where they're trying to separate Apocalypse from Remy Gambit, in like separate, when Charles is trying to like separate their powers, and Rogue's helping as well in like the mind worlds thing that Charles has. That animation is so good. Like just mind sequences, like the Charles mind sequences world, that animation in them is always so cool. There was one earlier this season with who was it with? It was in the Egyptian sequence, and it was one of the Charles ones. And I love the mind sequences, like how like distorted things look, and like the colour changing, and all like it looks so cool. But that one in particular where they were trying to separate Remy from Apocalypse, oh, that was good animation. So the credit scene was something I was wondering for a while. The credit scene being about Mystique. I thought Mystique would show up in this season. For the 2 seasons of X-97, I've been like, where is Raven? Where's Mystique? Where is she? How is she not here yet? Where has she been all this time? She's not with X-Men, X-Factor, X-Force. She's on her own. Where? And then she finally showed up in the end of the final, when you find out that classic X-Men hater, what's his name? One of the many X-Men haters is now the mayor of somewhere. He had to be in the mayor to get forward like a mayor. And Mystique showing up, I was like, oh, Mystique. I love Mystique. Mystique is one of my favourites, and I hope in the X-Men reboot, I'll talk about the X-Men reboot, maybe in another video I'll talk about this so far, the casting of X-Men reboots. I think there's 6 people so far, I'm not sure. The ones he said, Dave 93, we'll get before we go to the tangents about that one. I can't wait for whoever the next live action Mystique is. She is one of my favourite X-Men characters. So seeing her in the final was like, yes. Cause it was like, you had like one of the saddest lines from Nightcrawler, that I have faith, and then they just go into black, and then watch the credits. Of, like a minute later, you get Mystique, and it's just like tears, and then just the switch of emotions like so fast. It's like, oh, Nightcrawler's gone, that's so bad, but here's one of the best characters in the whole of X-Men. How do you feel now? So yeah, overall, I love season 2. Season 1 is not my favourite though, because obviously like season 1 was so on such a high standard. I was thinking about this earlier on about this video. I was like, well, season 1 was on such like extremely high standard, so season 2 wasn't gonna I wasn't gonna, I think it was gonna get the hype, but it was still amazing. I'm wearing a Magneto bracelet unintentionally while talking about this. I miss you, Eric. Come back, please. That scene where you went in the desert was so sad. But yeah, so random moments from this season that I loved: the zombie gambit stuff, the Charles stuff where it was just like losing his mind over Eric when Eric went, and the danger room sequence in particular that I mentioned, where he's just watching that room with Eric over and over again, experiencing it, and it's the danger room's like, "Are you sure you want to do this again? This is getting too much now," and he's like, "Keep doing it over and over again," and it's like, oh my god, Charles, and he's just sitting there like holding the helmet, Eric's helmet. Oh my god. I love the stuff with young Nathan. I thought that was really great. The young Nathan stuff, that was another thing I love this season. I would like to see more of my favourite X-Men girl, Storm, my favourite X-Men character. I would love to have seen more Storm this season. I think she should have had more to do. Polaris and Bishop, I love that. Didn't expect that couple, but a great combo, amazing combination. I love the Bishop Polaris duo. That now a couple. That is an unexpected but great duo. So yeah, I am very excited for the. I think it's currently new for 3 more seasons. I don't have to do more, but I know it's currently pretty sure it's renewed up to 5 so far, up to 5, which is like, give me more X97, give me more, to quote that song. So yeah, so is it give me more, tell me more, that's the song, not give me more. So yeah, once a year now for X-Men 97 season instead of a 2-year cliffhanger, which I'm so glad we didn't get a cliffhanger in this season, because last season with a cliffhanger and having to wait for 2 years. But at least it's just a year this time, and there wasn't any cliffhanger. It was just like Mystique's coming, and I was like, so yeah. So I love X-Men so much. X97, you are one of the best shows I've made. So if you enjoyed the video, people know what to do. Like, subscribe, follow Twitter, follow. What's my outro? Follow the Twitter at Emily's Videos _ and the Twitch EmilyRoseLive. And I'll see you next one. Bye.